Yo, what's going on YouTube? I am Germ here. I know some people have been asking for the yo to make its way back. So I had to throw that out for you guys. Can't go too crazy with it because I'm still feeling really, really sick. I don't know. I got a COVID test. We're going to find out what's going on. It's been like 5 days now. Really, really sucks. But I did make a promise to you guys that we would have some good news coming soon because for the past couple of weeks we've only been covering lots of bad news. But today we have some really, really good news to talk about surrounding G2 and one of their superstars. Because obviously the past year has been filled with a lot of bad news for G2 and their superstars. You know, a lot of guys underperforming, Reckless not doing so well, and then obviously the team not making MSI, not making finals, not making worlds, the team splitting up, going all their different ways. Mickey still doesn't have a team. But like I said, we finally have some good news to talk about, so I'm really, really excited, and I hope you guys are excited too. Definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate that a ton. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content, and consider checking out the first link in the description below for the new merch we just dropped about a week ago. We're starting to sell some pieces. Really fun, really exciting. You know, kind of the next chapter and what we've got going on here, and a way for you to support my content and my channel and get something cool in return. With that being said, let's get right into this. So, we know that for G2, a couple of weeks ago, a couple weeks into the offseason, Caps re-signed. I think he signed like a 3-year extension or something. I'm pretty sure Caps is on G2 until 2024 now. And that was a really, really big deal. And some people were kind of critical of Caps, like, why did you re-sign for this long, especially when you were coming off not so great of a year last year? You know, I think Caps was fine last year, but relative to his own, you know, Caps standard, pretty bad year for Caps last year. Probably one of his worst years in recent memory, maybe one of the worst years of his career. I mean, maybe since like he was like a rookie or something. So why would you re-sign under those terms when if you had a good year this year, you could probably get more money, you could get a better deal, you could get more leverage. But Caps pretty much came out and said, you know, he was like, hey, whatever, I don't really care about the contract stuff. I hate dealing with it. I would rather just be signed. It makes me happier, makes me, you know, be able to have a clear mental and just focus on the game, and that's what I want to do this year. So, you know, whatever. Either way, I'm sure he's making a ton of money. I'm sure, you know, G2's taking very, very good care of him. He is kind of their golden boy. He is kind of their star, especially now with Perks gone and a lot of the old G2 members gone as well. But people were definitely critical. They said, yeah, one, why are you selling yourself short? And two, why are you choosing to lock yourself up in contract prison, especially in an offseason where we just saw Carlos is absolutely ruthless? All the stories coming out about him and Perks and their negotiations, all the stories coming out between him and Mickey, him and Wonder, him and Reckless, you know, all these guys that were at one point in G2's good graces. Now, all of those guys except for Perks aren't really anywhere near Caps' stature at this point. And I don't think G2 could have ever, you know, strong-armed Perks the way they did without having a guy like Caps. So I think Caps is in kind of a unique situation. But, you know, he signed his extension, whatever. That was great. For the most part, that should be exciting for Caps and G2 fans and G2, everyone involved. And the big news coming out today is that they locked up another player. They said, this is something that Jankos had talked about on his stream and in his content for the past couple of weeks, is that, hey, they're in negotiations right now. He can't talk about anything yet. Nothing's done, so he didn't want to, you know, talk about stuff prematurely or whatever. But the First Blood King is here to stay. They've locked him up, renewing this contract for 2 years. Now, I think this just means 2022 and 2023. That's kind of my understanding, because then, you know, Jankos did say Jung Gap for 2 more years. But I don't know if 2 more years means this year we were supposed to get of him already and then 2 more years, or if it just means 2022 and 2023. So I don't know if this contract's still 2023 or 2024. Either way, it is kind of interesting. And on one hand, it's really good. Jankos is one of the best junglers in the West, probably the best Western jungler of all time. He honestly might have been G2's best performing member this past season. I think people really expect him to be good into this year, especially now that a lot of their behind the scenes stuff is hopefully settled. Again, with his new contract extension, he'll just be able to focus on gameplay. And him and Caps are an absolute world-class mid-jung duo at their best. So having those two guys both locked up for the long term is a great thing for G2, a great thing for Jankos. You know, if this is where he wants to be, he's getting paid, all that stuff. But it also, at the same time, it is kind of funny, you know, people saying Jung Gap for 2 more years, people saying he's locked up, because there also is a lot of, you know, definitely a lot of criticism going on about, again, people re-signing these contracts and stuff. Like here, Frosty says, welcome to the contract jail, Jankos. So that's a question of how exactly this is all going to play out. And in the end, does this contract extension actually mean anything? Because we've seen players sign contract extensions before. I believe Perks signed a contract extension with G2 right before, the offseason where they sold him off to Cloud9. Also, just even this most recent offseason, we saw Inspired sign a contract extension with Rogue, and then him end up getting sold off to Evil Geniuses. And, Inspired kind of came out and was like, yeah, I did something stupid. I was young. I don't know why I signed that extension if I wasn't, sure I was going to stay. But then some other people are like, hey, no, teams like getting those contract extensions so their players don't leave for free. So their players, so they actually get some buyout and stuff in return for their players. So this extension could mean a couple of different things. It could mean that G2 and Jankos are both ready to go for the long term together, or it could mean that, hey, Carlos just wants to shore up a player and an asset, and he doesn't know what the future has in store, because we already heard Jankos come out and say that heading into this offseason, there wasn't a 100% chance that he was going to be locked in for the G2 lineup. There was a world where G2 kind of kicked him to the curb and went for another jungler, whether it was Inspired or Self-Made or, Razork or whoever. So this is kind of interesting. On one hand, this could mean a lot. It could mean Jankos and G2 are here to stay, but it also could end up meaning nothing. And we have heard Carlos actually come out and say in recent interviews that he is going to do this with all his players. This is his plan for everyone, that when you come to G2, part of the agreement is, hey, you're coming to G2, and I'm going to do my best to give you the absolute best team around you every single season. Now, I think you could really question if G2 did that this offseason. Broken Blade, Flockhead, Targamas, are those the best players available? I don't think so, but hey, whatever. That's what Carlos is saying. He says part of the agreement is I will do my best to give you the most competitive team in the world every single offseason, and in return, you will not leave G2 for free. I will get a buyout for you. If your contract's about to expire, you're either going to retire or you're going to be sold off. That's literally what Carlos has said. So the fact that they had a couple of expiring contracts in Caps and Jankos, the fact that they've extended them, that is not very surprising. This is literally the blueprint that Carlos has laid out for all of his players, and for the most part, he's stuck to it. Perks got sold off. Wonder got sold off. Reckless got sold off. Mickey hasn't been sold off yet, but he's not letting him go for free. Now, maybe Mickey's contract is going to expire. He won't end up being able to get any money for him. I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but he has been very, very stingy. He could have, at this point, let Mickey go for free, but no, he would rather keep him on the roster and have him playing for no one than let him off the hook for free. So it will be very, very interesting with both Jankos and Caps to see, do either one of these guys get stuck in contract prison with G2, or are these extensions just fallback plans for G2 to be able to sell these guys off in a couple years to the highest bidder as they maybe rebuild into the future? Or are these guys actually just going to play for G2 for a long, long time, and they're just getting some fat extensions, and maybe they're going to both end up playing out the rest of their careers with G2? I don't know, but the point of this whole video and conversation is that don't read too much into this. If you're a G2 fan, definitely be excited that, hey, these guys got some new contracts, they're locked up. But also know at the end of the day, we've seen in the past that esports contracts do not mean that much. And you can be signing an extension one day, and then just months later, you can be on the road. But yeah, this is a blueprint that Carlos has laid out. He's stuck to it, and he's keeping it rolling with Jankos here and Caps both this offseason. But yeah, it's pretty exciting getting a nice contract extension for two of the best players of all time in the West in Caps and Jankos. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about these extensions? Do you think they mean anything? Are you excited? Or do you think esports contracts just mean absolutely nothing? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, save today, and all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.